Did you know? Inspirations for the Constitution. 24 crazy facts. Number 1. Did you know? When political scientists analyzed more than 15,000 writings from the American founding era, they discovered that the Bible was cited more often than any European philosopher, and the single most quoted book was Deuteronomy.
Scripture made up roughly 34% of all direct citations between 1760 and 1805, and Deuteronomy alone appeared more frequently than Locke, Montesquieu, and Voltaire combined. Its teachings on law, covenants, justice, and the dangers of tyranny shaped the intellectual world in which the Constitution was born.
Number 2. Did you know? The founders' idea of separating government into 3 branches was shaped not only by Enlightenment philosophy, but also by biblical warnings about human nature.
Legal thinkers like John Adams pointed to Isaiah 33:22. "The Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king," as an ancient model for dividing judicial, legislative, and executive power. At the same time, verses such as Jeremiah 17:9, which describes the human heart as deceitful above all things, convinced many delegates that no single person or branch could be trusted with unchecked authority. Together, these biblical concepts helped inspire the Constitution's system of separation of powers and checks and balances.
Number 3. Did you know? The Haudenosaunee Iroquois Confederacy had already been operating as a unified federal republic for centuries before the U.S. Constitution was written, and its leaders directly advised the colonies to copy their system.
The Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later Tuscarora nations governed themselves under the Kayaneragawa, Great Law of Peace, a sophisticated structure balancing executive, legislative, and judicial authority across autonomous nations. In 1744, the Onondaga diplomat Canasatego urged colonial leaders at the Treaty of Lancaster to observe the same methods of unity used by the Six Nations, arguing that such a confederation would give the colonies fresh strength and power. His advice became one of the earliest recorded moments where indigenous political philosophy was offered as a model for American union.
Number 4. Did you know? Benjamin Franklin, the Great Seal, and even modern congressional resolutions all reflect how deeply the Haudenosaunee Iroquois Confederacy influenced early American ideas about unity and federalism.
Franklin openly admired the Six Nations when drafting the Albany Plan of Union in 1754, noting that if the Iroquois could maintain a lasting confederacy, the English colonies should be able to do the same. The bundle of arrows on the Great Seal echoes Haudenosaunee diplomacy, where one arrow can be broken but a bound bundle is unbreakable, a symbol of strength through unity that colonists witnessed in treaty councils. And in 1988, the U.S. Congress formally acknowledged this influence, passing a concurrent resolution recognizing the historic contribution of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy to American democratic principles.
Number 5. Did you know? The Roman Republic also inspired America's system of checks and balances.
For centuries, Rome successfully limited the power of individual leaders through elected officials, written laws, and divided authority. America's Constitution borrowed many similar ideas to help prevent tyranny.
Number 6. Did you know? 2 of the most influential ideas behind the Constitution came from the writings of John Locke and Montesquieu, whose philosophies fit together like the framework of a house.
Locke argued that all people possess natural rights, life, liberty, and property, and that governments exist only by the consent of the governed, a principle that shaped both the Declaration and the Constitution. Montesquieu added the crucial insight that liberty survives only when power is divided, inspiring the founders to create legislative, executive, and judicial branches that restrain one another. Together, their ideas helped form the backbone of America's system of limited government.
Number 7. Did you know? The founders believed morality and liberty were inseparable, and that a free republic could survive only if its citizens governed themselves first.
George Washington warned that religion and morality were indispensable supports of political prosperity, arguing that laws alone could not preserve freedom without virtuous people to uphold them. Many founders feared that a nation without moral self-restraint would eventually collapse into corruption or tyranny. Because of this, they believed liberty required citizens who practiced honesty, duty, and personal responsibility, the kind of internal discipline that made external government possible.
Number 8. Did you know? Benjamin Franklin urged the Constitutional Convention to seek divine guidance when debates stalled in 1787.
As tempers rose and progress froze, Franklin reminded the delegates that God governs in the affairs of men, and proposed beginning their sessions with prayer. In a room filled with men of sharply differing opinions and competing regional needs, Franklin believed that humbly asking for God's help might bring unity. And many delegates later credited that moment with helping them move forward and complete the Constitution.
Number 9. Did you know? The founders studied ancient Athenian democracy not just for inspiration, but as a warning.
While they admired citizen participation, they feared pure democracy could turn into mob rule or demagoguery, leading them to design a constitutional republic rather than a direct democracy.
Number 10. Did you know? The structure of the U.S. Senate was heavily modeled after the Roman Republic.
The word Senate itself comes from the Latin senatus, Council of Elders, reflecting the founders' desire for a stable, deliberate legislative body to balance the more populist House of Representatives.
Number 11. Did you know? Patrick Henry called the Bible worth all the other books.
Patrick Henry, one of America's most passionate advocates for liberty, believed the Bible provided the moral foundation necessary for a free society. He once declared, "The Bible is worth all the other books which have ever been printed." Like many of the founding fathers, Henry believed its teachings encouraged justice, honesty, personal responsibility, compassion, respect for human dignity, and the rule of law. Although the founders held a variety of religious beliefs and did not agree on every theological question, most believed that citizens with strong moral character were essential for self-government to succeed.
Number 12. Did you know? George Washington was widely compared to the ancient Roman hero Lucius Quintus.
Cincinnatus was a Roman farmer who was granted absolute dictator powers during a national crisis, defeated the enemy, and immediately gave up power to return to his farm, a precedent Washington famously followed when he resigned his military command and refused a third presidential term. Have politicians today followed his example?
Number 13. Did you know? Baron de Montesquieu's 1748 book, The Spirit of the Laws, was the most cited secular work at the Constitutional Convention.
Montesquieu popularized the political theory that liberty requires power to act as a check on power, directly laying the groundwork for executive vetoes, judicial review, and legislative override.
Number 14. Did you know? Some of the most important foundations of American constitutional thinking came from English law and political resistance to monarchy, stretching back hundreds of years before the Revolution.
The Magna Carta of 1215 introduced principles like due process, trial by jury, and limits on royal authority, ideas that later shaped the Bill of Rights. Centuries afterward, Sir William Blackstone's Commentaries became the colony's most influential legal textbook, helping define American courts and Article 3. And Algernon Sidney, executed in 1683 for opposing King Charles II, became a martyr to the founders. His writings on liberty and the consent of the governed deeply influenced Jefferson, Hamilton, and other architects of the new republic.
Number 15. Did you know? The Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, written in 1639, is considered by many historians to be the first written constitution in Western history that created a government.
It established elected representation without mentioning any allegiance to the British crown.
Number 16. Did you know? The biblical concept of covenant directly influenced the legal concept of a constitutional compact.
Early New England communities structured their colonial charters after Old Testament covenants between communities and God, creating a tradition of written agreements binding rulers and citizens to shared laws.
Number 17. Did you know? One of the most important intellectual influences on the Constitution was John Witherspoon, a Scottish minister who trained many of the men who wrote it.
As president of the College of New Jersey, now Princeton, Witherspoon taught James Madison, the father of the Constitution, and shaped a generation of leaders through his lectures on moral philosophy, natural rights, and republican government. He blended biblical ethics with Scottish Enlightenment reasoning, arguing that liberty could survive only if citizens practiced virtue and self-restraint. His influence quietly flowed into the Constitutional Convention through the minds of the men he educated, making him one of the most significant, yet often overlooked, architects of American political thought.
Number 18. Did you know? The framers examined confederacies throughout world history, including the Lycian League, the Achaean League, and the Swiss Confederation, to learn why ancient unions failed.
James Madison spent months studying historical confederacies to decrease the chance the new American Union would collapse into internal warfare.
Number 19. Did you know? The English Bill of Rights of 1689 provided the direct template for several amendments in the U.S. Bill of Rights.
Protections such as the right to petition the government, freedom of speech and debate, and prohibition against cruel and unusual punishments were lifted almost verbatim from English law.
Number 20. Did you know? The Constitution was intentionally designed to be hard to change and resistant to political factions, even though it is one of the shortest national constitutions in the world.
The founders feared that parties and factions could tear the nation apart, which is why the Constitution never mentions political parties at all. They hoped unity would outweigh partisanship. At the same time, they made amendments deliberately difficult, requiring overwhelming national agreement so the document could evolve only through careful thought and broad consensus. Despite being fewer than 8,000 words, this compact framework has governed the United States for more than 2 centuries, proving that stability and brevity can coexist when a constitution is built to endure.
Number 21. Did you know? James Madison became known as the father of the Constitution.
Madison arrived at the Constitutional Convention with months of research and detailed plans for a stronger national government. His careful preparation made him one of the convention's most influential delegates.
Number 22. Did you know? The Constitution begins with only 3 famous words: "We the people."
Those words announce that the ultimate authority of the government came from the people themselves, not from a king, parliament, president, courts, Congress, bureaucracies, or inherited ruler.
Number 23. Did you know? The Great Law of Peace was preserved through oral tradition for centuries.
Before it was written down, Haudenosaunee leaders memorized and passed the Great Law of Peace from generation to generation. It became one of history's longest-lasting constitutional traditions.
Number 24. Did you know? The U.S. Constitution reflects thousands of years of human experience and was built as a grand synthesis of ideas drawn from civilizations across the world.
Rather than emerging from a single ideology, culture, or religion, the framers blended ancient Greco-Roman political architecture, British legal traditions, Enlightenment philosophy, Judeo-Christian moral ethics and governmental concepts, and even the federalism of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. This fusion of global influences created a document fewer than 8,000 words long, yet it became the longest surviving written national constitution in human history, precisely because it grew from many streams rather than one. What or who do you believe most influenced the Constitution? Please leave your thoughts and comments and be respectful of differing opinions. If you enjoyed this video or learned something, please like, share, and subscribe. There are many more videos coming about the history of North America and the United States of America. If you are a student or teacher and would like to look at the reflection and research questions, they are in the descriptions of the sister videos corresponding with each of these videos. There, the story is told by 4 animals and intended for a different audience than these videos. They can be found on the same channel, but on a parallel playlist.